to that.
A little bit and a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Do we have power?
Practice makes perfect, oh son. Practice makes
We
perfect.
have power. Okay. And then
Are we
let
on?
me make you big.
Oh,
we
on? I beg your
Yes,
pardon?
you're good.
He's getting me worried here.
All right. Let me get to YouTube. And
Let me check it on my end.
looks like we are live. Hey everybody, we're live. We're gonna get going here in just a quick second.
In a quick second,
that's
one, go.
All right, we got 4 folks on there already, but I don't.
It's one hell of an echo.
All right, we ready, right, Joe? There we go. I'm in M18. So we ready, guys? Oh, I gotta turn down my volume here.
Yeah, because there's an echo, a bad one.
Okay, I turned my volume down. All right, got some folks out there. Let's get this show on the road. Hey everybody, we're back. Thanks for joining us tonight. Larry Lawson here, and we are on the air with Indian River Hauntings with my good friend and co-host, who's moving up and down, Mr. Chris Huff over in County Durham,
I'm
England.
just trying to sort the lighting out so it's not in my eyes and blinding me.
And of course we got my son Ryan, who's now relocated to Gainesville, Florida. Lots happened since we've last talked. He's now up in Gainesville, Florida, and he's engineering the show from there. So say hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. Hello.
Okay.
See, we're going to talk like this all evening.
It's great to be back, everybody. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. We wanted to try and get back in August, but just timing did not work out the way we had hoped. But we are back now, and kind of give you a new idea of what the new format is. We're not going to be on weekly like we were before. We're going to be on it once a month, maybe twice a month, and it's all going to be gauged upon investigations that we're doing, so that we can talk about them and share the investigations and what we're doing with all of you. So it's pretty exciting new format. We're really excited about it. Couple of things I wanted to mention to you. It'll always be Tuesday night, though. We will always be on Tuesday nights, and you'll be able to find out when we're coming on through Facebook. If you go to Indian River Hauntings on Facebook, it'll have the announcements there. And certainly, if you've subscribed and liked, which I'm encouraging you to do, to subscribe, hit that little bell so you know that when we're coming on, it'll alert you to when we're going to be on the air next. So, IDK, there's Ike and Debbie, M18's out there. His Honor Commanding Judge Dredd is back. Hey, it's good to see the gang's all back with us again tonight. A couple of shout-outs that I'll begin with, and the first one is, of course, Excuse him, I won't even ask why you're such excuse.
No, that's French, Albin. Excuse him.
Yeah, I understand. But I don't know what you're excusing since you're partaking.
I was belching away quite merrily there.
Quite,
suddenly thought I'm on air, so I better say excuse me.
Quiet. Anyway, like to start our shout-outs with, and hello to everybody out there, but IDK Paranormal out there in New Mexico. Ike NZ and his crew out there, and Christine and his wife Debbie. His crew, yes. But a great show. If you get a chance, check out IDK Paranormal on YouTube. He's got some great shows. I think he just put number 32 out there just the other day, and that was a terrific show. Enjoyed hearing Christine tell about some of her
let Christine speak.
Yeah,
my word.
That was cool. So check out, folks, IDK Paranormal on YouTube. Great show. Got some cool things going on. And if you get involved, I think you're still doing, and if I got this wrong, Ike, let me know. You're still doing the giveaways. Once you hit a certain level of subscriptions, you're doing giveaways. So something, and they're all Southwestern motif type of things. I won't say what they are, but really cool events there. Would also like to take a moment to say hi to our friends at Doodlebug Dowsing. Sherry Cox and Nikki Shreves are on it. They're part of my team with the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, but they also own Doodlebug Dowsing, and they're the only dowsing rods that we use. And if you're in the market for Doodlebug I get it out right. If you're in the market for dowsing rods, Doodlebug Dowsing at doodlebugdowsing.com. Check them out. They've got the best dowsing rods in the world.
So where can I get a doodlebug from then?
Doodlebug. Doodlebug. Yeah, that's the little V1s that went, no, the V2s that went flying across.
We demand doodlebugs in paranormal investigations.
I do want to take, in all seriousness, all kidding aside, I want to take some time to talk about two companies that really have just tremendous equipment, but more importantly, tremendous customer service. The first one's going to be Syntax Paranormal. They're the makers of the EDI. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the most fantastic pieces of scientific paranormal equipment out there. I have in my hand the EDI Plus, and it not only gives you vibrations for footsteps, but EMFs. It also gives you barometric pressure, temperature, humidity, and with an SD card, you put it in the top of the EDI Plus, and it graphs all of it. Why do I think this is super important? Because of the work that we're trying to do through the International Bureau of Paranormal Investigation Research. We are trying to collect as much data as we can, and this is a great piece of equipment to do it. Most importantly, Michael Lyons out there and his partner, if you have a problem with this piece of equipment, they're Johnny on the spot to help you figure it out and get it fixed. One of the best pieces of equipment out there. Syntax Paranormal, and that's going to be at Syntex, CENTEX, paranormal.com. Get the EDI.
And the crucial question.
Yes.
How much?
It varies, but it's around $280. Yeah, but what you get what you pay for, and it's a heck of a pack. Yeah. The other one,
I could probably afford 28.
Well, the other thing I want to mention is, of course, the Mel Meter, DAS Distributors, otherwise known as ProMeasure.com. I believe that's pro-measure.com makes the Mel Meters. Also a great company, puts out just high quality equipment, and their customer service is beyond reproach. So if you're looking for equipment,
you used at Elvington.
That's the one I used. That's exactly the one I used.
I've got to admit it works.
Yeah, tremendous. So I do strongly recommend those two pieces of equipment, and shout outs to my friend at Syntex and ProMeasure. So with that, what would our show be without the beer challenge? So I'm going to open this up. This is a Warlock. It's an Imperial Pumpkin Stout. It's 8.6 alcohol by volume. It's a little bit on the strong side, but you know me, I like the stronger stuff. And Sylvia says hi, Chris, and hi to me. Says hi to me too, but she also said hi to you. Mike's out there. Sock de Blue. That's actually Ryan. Something wrong with the audio, Ryan?
It was, but I fixed it.
You fixed it. Okay, very good.
He's a good lad. I'll buy him a hobgoblin when he comes over next time.
There you go. All right, so off comes this. Warlock.
Chinchi and Old Bean.
It's a pumpkin, and you're going to do yours in a second. This is out of.
I'm just gonna flash it on the screen, and I'll flash the beer too.
This is out of Parksburg, Pennsylvania, and Lakewood, New York, is where it's brewed. Let's see how those Northerners do this pumpkin stout.
I don't like pumpkins, so I'll tell you I wouldn't like it.
You can taste the pumpkin.
Gross.
But the taste is gone already.
Tell us what it tastes like after half the bottle. Because often it just eases off as you go through it.
Yeah, I'm not digging it. I'm going to have to give this one a 5. I'm not.
I think that's better than the thing I had, the time before the last show that we did, which said it was a German premium beer, which had one swig and then poured down the sink.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty bad. That
That was
really
pretty-
was pretty bad.
That was pretty.
That was terrible.
And what you got? You have some hobgoblin there,
Oh,
Chris?
I've got just one of those. Yeah,
Just
of
one of
them.
those things
One
that we
of
can't
them.
get over here, that we won't really
That
badly.
you can't get over
Yeah.
there, chaps. And how good is this stuff?
Let me tell you something. I liked hobgoblin a lot. Ryan and I partook of quite a bit of hobgoblin.
Well, I took
So-
at a decent amount, but that decent amount is quite a bit for people like you.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
We're not gonna- it's not gonna
Don't
go
ask
there.
him to touch his nose. That's the thing. Don't
No,
ask him to touch the nose.
We've already told those stories. Tonight, okay?
But
What-
you're never
what
going to
happens
live
in
it
York-
down, old chap.
What happens in York stays in York. So
Yeah, we're waiting on round 2 when you come to Durham. We're going to do it properly.
Okay.
Anyways,
Let's get into the show. People are, let's get into the show here, and I'm glad everybody's here now. Hey, folks, this is once again a forum that we want to set up for people to talk about investigations, have questions about the paranormal, and how the format's going to go tonight. I'm going to talk about an investigation we did last Saturday, and I may talk a little bit about a tour that we did a week ago of Saturday, and then a tour we did last Friday. Then after that, Chris has got some things he wants to chat with you in the last part of our show, and it's going to be up to you. You folks are going to drive it. If you got questions and thoughts or things you want to bring up, going to be your opportunity to do that. So we're kind of excited about this this new format. I'm looking at Judge Dredd's other. Okay, it's just Judge Dredd and M18 talking. That's okay. Good, glad you guys got it.
You can't stop them. You know that. I've got Paul and Mark and David on my channel, and they go at it. They just go
Mark
at
and
it
David,
on Facebook.
And I'm
They
using
really
their
do.
I'm using their screen names here. Those guys are terrific and good loyal fans and good friends too. Anyway, this investigation that we did was a week ago Saturday. Was a place we've been trying to get into for a long time. I cannot name it. Why? Because it's a public building. We had the opportunity to get in there due to one of the tenants. It does have to do with the legal system. I'll put it at that, and that's one reason why we wanted to get in there so badly, because of some of the things that have happened there. We couldn't bring a huge crew, so we took there's about 6 of us, 7 including me, and how we normally set up our investigations, and everybody does it differently. And just because we do it this way doesn't mean it's the only way. That's just how we do it. We tend to set up a command post. Usually I'll man that. And many times we use a surveillance camera system. We didn't do it this time just because of the audio is bad, according to a Spanky, Evan. Ryan, can you fix that at all? Ryan, you there?
We've lost him.
Can you folks hear us? Is it still bad? Can anybody out there tell me real quick before I go on with my story? Well, I'll go on. I'm not seeing anybody answer, so that maybe they're not even hearing us right now, which I'm sure is going to be frustrating to all. Anyway, so what we do is we'll set up a base camp, and we'll a lot of times use surveillance cameras, and then we break up into teams. In this particular case, because we were smaller, Spanky, who's okay, M18 can hear us. That's good. Spanky is my field lead. In other words, when we do an investigation, Spanky, who's a retired firefighter, sets up the investigation, breaks up the teams, gets the equipment set out, and gets it all going. And normally he'll oversee it. I'll sit at the command post and write stuff down as we go, and the teams go out and start doing experiments, investigations, and whatnot. This particular time, there were 5 went in one team, and Spanky and I kind of stuck together and did another part of this building. Like I said, this building has to do with the legal system. It's all I can really say right now. But some very interesting things happened in this building over the years. It's a good 75, 80 years old. And no, it's actually more than that.
Pretty modern.
Yeah, well, compared to you, it's modern, absolutely. Got to understand, Indian River County wasn't created until 1925. So therefore, everything here is a lot newer than you. I mean, when you go back to 1225 or 1125 when you're next to the
Or
woods.
even earlier.
Or even earlier. And at any rate, as we started, Spanky and I began doing a session. Spanky is very, very gifted. with, dowsing rods. So we combine dowsing rods with our PSB-7 recorder with a speaker on it. And it was during our sessions that we began to get some very interesting words back. We kept getting a female voice coming over the speaker. Now, how can you tell on a spirit box the difference between a radio station and a voice? We try to listen very hard for the white noise in the. If you've ever heard a PSB-7 or even a PSB-11, you get the sound in it. And it's in that white noise that makes we listen for voices. Obviously, if it's a radio station, you'll hear music, you'll hear them talking about Bill's gas station or something like that. But in this particular case, we were able to get a female voice that came out, same voice at least 3 times, that gave us a name, that she was there. She wouldn't tell us her name. She would not tell us why she was there, but she said that the room that we were in, she received legal judgment, shall we say. But she wouldn't tell us what it was. Said she was too embarrassed. And that came out not only with the PSB-11, but also confirmed with the dowsing rods that Spanky was using. I don't know, Spanky, if you can hear me, if you've got anything to add to that. But it was pretty darn significant, and we knew it was a younger lady. And we, from the sounds of it, probably into the 1950s from the information she was giving us. Now, I had a lot of trouble early on in my career in the paranormal believing in the radio frequency theory, but I'm a huge believer in that type of contact to the other side. I believe that's where the breakthrough is going to be, through radio waves and white noise and whatnot. And that was pretty darn interesting. Now, the other group was making their way through the other parts of this facility. And they were in one building, and we had taken a REM pod. For those of you that might not be familiar with the REM pod, it's about the size of a little bit bigger than a hockey puck. It's got an antenna on it, and it's got 5 lights. The middle light has to do with temperature. The lights on the outside have to do with direction. Theoretically, when anything breaks the the electromagnetic field around it, a light will go off. If it's coming from this direction, the light up here would go off. And it also sounds a buzzer. Well, they were in a room just outside where the REM pod was. And suddenly they hear the alarm on the REM pod going crazy. Nobody was in that room. And it had been sitting there by itself for quite a while. We walked in there, or they walked in there rather, and all 4 lights were going off. Bam, bam. They got it on video. And it's as if something was standing over it, and then it stopped. Never came on again. Now, one of the things, that batteries were new, changed to myself, and what we do, just as a side note, whenever investigation, we put fresh batteries in, and I will take a magic marker, and I will write the date and my initials on it. So these are brand new batteries, so that wasn't the case. But it went crazy, and it stopped. So we figured in that room something was going on, got this on video, and then we also had a Mel meter sitting off to the side. I'm sorry, it was a K2. We had a K2 sitting outside, away from everything, and it started blinking as if something walked over to that. Now, you don't want to jump to conclusions and say, oh, this is definitively a spirit. But it is certainly something that made us want to continue on. So all of us sat in that room, and we began using the PSB-11, the bigger spirit box. And it was in that room that we got definitive names. We got the name David. But we also got the word murder. David is the name of one of the more infamous serial killers that have passed through our neck of the woods. Gave us little bits of information. One of our team members, Mark Holt, and his wife Valerie were there, and their son knew David's son, and they started talking to him and getting some interesting answers. But suddenly the word, clear as a bell, came out definitely into the white noise: murder. And temperature dropped, people got goosebumps. Could that have been psychological? Sure, but you can't mistake David murder. And David was one of the people that spent some time in that place, shall we say. So pretty significant night. We did not get any pictures. We're still going through some of the EVP tapes, but we didn't get any other EVPs at this point. But considering the amount of time we were in there and considering what's happened there, pretty darn significant investigation. We were very pleased with the evidence that we got there. So pretty exciting. Let's see. I don't see anybody talking. Can you guys hear us okay still? Any questions about or thoughts on this adventure we had? I don't know if anybody's out there can hear us. Ryan, can you hear us? I don't know where Ryan's at.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's hearing us.
Well, we've got 10 people out there, so I'm assuming folks can still hear us. You know,
if you can't hear us, hello.
You know, people watch TV shows.
We're doing it by sign language.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Apparently they can still hear us. We just can't hear Ryan. Sorry.
I was just going to add before you start. I was just going to add. You sort of say proof of PSB7 working is listening to things which are coming out. I always listen for the swear words, the really hard swear words, which I will not say because, as you keep saying, this is a family show and we're not allowed to swear, so I will not say the words I'm talking about. But you all know them starting with F's and C's. And if you get them through the box, they're definitely not going to be broadcast on a radio.
That's an excellent point.
That's what I always look for.
Yeah,
if I get the F off coming through, and I get it fairly regularly, you know this is not coming through on a radio station.
And that's a good point. We did not get any swear words over the air this time. But a lot of folks, they watch the TV shows and they see people, oh, did you hear that noise? Oh, did you see that? I really equate a paranormal investigation to a police stakeout. And like in the movies, police stakeouts are very boring with 30 seconds, maybe less of excitement. Paranormal investigations are the same. You're not always going to get something. And remember, folks, those that were contacting the other side, they're not circus animals. They're not going to perform just because we asked them. They're going to talk if they feel like it. So the mere fact that we got a significant name in this facility, and it can, in another word, that connected to why he was there, pretty significant. Now, Spanky, I see that you got the TV up to 100 and you still can't hear us. I got a feeling it might be you out in Okeechobee, Spank. I don't know. Everybody else seems to be hearing us fairly well. Apologize for that, folks, if you're not hearing us. But anyway, it doesn't sound. I mean, we conducted about a 3-hour investigation in this facility to get what we got. Very, very, very pleased, and we're going to have an opportunity to go back again. And I'm hoping in the future I can actually tell you a little bit more about this facility because it was pretty darn interesting. Now, on the flip side of it, we did a tour last Friday night, and we had an individual that was definitely a naysayer, and that's fine. You know, anybody that says they understand or they know exactly what the paranormal is, I got to question them because nobody knows the complete answer yet. And that's why I enjoy having skeptics on our tours. Well, we had one skeptic on there, and we were in a particular, we did this one up on the beach in Vero, and there's one spot behind it's behind a beauty salon, very upscale beauty salon, Justin Zavero, great place. We've done an investigation there, got a really good EVP.
But Larry gets his nails done there all the time.
All the time, yeah. And can't you see I get my hair done too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great place. Justin Zavero, terrific place. Did you track down the history of this murderer? I'll get to that in just a second, M18. I'll tell you all about this guy. Yes, I can tell you all about him. Anyways, this lady, she was an absolute skeptic, college professor, didn't believe any of it, sat down with dowsing rods, and we handed them to her because the lady that had them, they weren't working. And dang, if they didn't start spouting off answers at the same time. Oh, I think Ryan's back. Or was that you?
No, that was me. That was me.
Okay.
That was me doing Orion. Dang.
Okay. But anyway, the rods were answering your questions, and the K2 meter she was using was going off at the same time. And the look in her eyes was worth $1 million because she couldn't explain. In fact, she said, "I don't believe this, but I can't explain what's happening." And that's always kind of an interesting moment when somebody that says can't happen, yet it does, and they can't explain it. So just an interesting side note. So M18 asks, did you track the history of this murderer? Oh, yeah. Yeah. His name was David Allen Gore. His partner was Fred Waterfield. And they were, it was just in the early 80s. And I actually remember it happening. And I was an investigator for the prosecutor's office at the time when they were tried. Shows you how old I am.
We're not going there.
No, I'm not going.
We're not.
And,
you're not that. You're so slightly older than me that we're not going there.
But I am older than you, so show respect.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't matter. It's just so.
At any rate,
thin.
what these two clowns did was they would pick up young ladies, mostly hitchhiking, and then basically take them places and do heinous things to them. Mostly tried to kill them. And this last incident where they got caught, one person, one of the girls got away and was running down the street unclothed, and that's how she was actually noticed, and the police were called. The other young lady was already dead at that time, and they did heinous things. And this is really not the forum to go into serial killers. And serial type of criminals and rapists were my specialty in law enforcement, and so this guy's actions were very, very typical of that type, that genre of serial killer. But yeah, that's who he was. Very evil man. Side note, auxiliary sheriff's deputy at one point. He wasn't when he committed these acts. So, and his family, very proud family in law enforcement. So, yeah, so I know all about this particular murder. That's why when I heard the name and I heard murder and I heard some of the other things that we got, wow, pretty darn significant. So wanted to share that with you because it was really a great investigation. Hopefully we're going to get back there soon. We're hoping to get into another spot. And Spank, I didn't get a chance to tell you, but Pareidolia is open Monday, so I'll be calling you later. We're going to try and get to the Pareidolia Brewery again next Monday morning, so I'll get with you later.
I still want a bottle of their beer over here, please. Yeah,
I'll have to figure out a way to get that. Now, there's some serious beer there, and they're not over. They're like a 5.2, 5.5.
Very nice stuff. Yeah, that's what I like. So. Well, just have it on standby for if I ever get over there.
I shall. So that's the story of our investigation, of our latest investigation. I'm anxious to bring our next one to you in our next episode. But Chris, you got some things you want to kind of bring up tonight too and share with folks, right?
Well, it's sort of, and I'm not quite sure what I want to call this part because I've been thinking about it, and every time I get an idea, it's a case of no, I'm not going to call it that. Roughly, it's mediumship for the non-mediums and some of the problems that we have. Mm-hmm. And it's not the things that you'd consider. And so I just wanted to give a couple of examples, or at least even one example. And tonight we're going to deal with memory.
Oh, okay.
Something that you know as a witness, memory is not good.
Oh, you can have 5 people see the exact same crime.
Yep.
And give you 5 different angles to it.
5 different answers. What you have is something very similar when you're doing spirit communication. Mm-hmm. Especially if you've got someone in spirit trying to talk to someone living. Because they don't remember things the same way. They don't remember someone in spirit will say the name Tom and they don't remember Tom. Who's Tom? Oh, and then eventually at the end of the session, it will go, oh yes, that was my father's brother, but we all called him John. So the things get muddled between the living and the dead because they talk at different things. And I tend to find that with spirits, it's very lacking what they seem to remember at times. Even down to their names, you're not going to get the name through. Anyway, what I wanted to do is give one example of this memory problem that we have. And it happened when I went to do I was asked to do an investigation at a local hall. It's a glorious name for a sort of large house, but it's a hall just up the road from me, and they've been having various things going on in the house. So I sort of walked in and said hello to the lady who owned the place and had a nice cup of tea made for me. And then we got down to what's going on and walked around the place into one room, and there was this horrible woman sitting in a chair by the fire with a cat underneath the chair in spirit. Every time the dogs went near, the cat was going under the chair, was going absolutely ballistic. So the dogs were going out, and the woman in the house was saying, people don't like this room, and the dogs won't come in here. So I told her what was going on. At the end of the session, I tried to move her on. I think I did something because it felt a bit better, but I don't think she went. We went down to the other end of the room, and I was sort of going, your husband doesn't smoke, does he? No, he doesn't. You don't smoke, do you? No. Well, I can smell someone smoking in here. Yeah, we often get that in this room. So, right. So I did my usual sidestep in the mind, and there's a chap called Elliot, and I didn't know if that was his first name or his last name. And he was sitting by a chair by the door, and he was reading his paper, smoking. So I told her this, and came up that one of the owners in the house in the past was a Mr. Elliot. So that made her quite happy. And then she was telling me about this peculiar noise that she'd hear when she was in this room. And she said it was a clonk. And she didn't know where it was coming from, but periodically she'd be sitting down in this room and there's a clonk. And it sounds like it's coming down from the corridor. Well, down the corridor, there was a bathroom. A restroom.
That's right. Get your American on there.
So there's a bathroom down there with a toilet in it, toilet. And there was this big brass lock on the door, just a slidey bolt, big brass one. So I was going through everything in there. I was pulling chains and I was opening up taps and I was flushing the toilet. And I was saying, is this the noise? No, nothing like it. Lifting up a rack that was on the side of the bath, dropping it. Is that the noise? No, it's nothing like it. And then I just operated the bolt. Bang. That's the noise. So we worked out what the noise was. And it never ever happened again. So it never happened again. Somebody was playing silly buggers, trying to confuse her or whatever. As soon as you identified what it was, that was the end of that. They probably started something else, but we got to the end of that one. Anyway, we went back after all this. I've been around the house and did what I did and told her what was going on. She made me another cup of tea, which I thought was very, very nice of her. And when I was sitting there, in spirit, this man suddenly appeared to me. Now, I'm very good at sentience. I'm pretty good at clairvoyance. I'm not that brilliant at clairaudience. So I don't get them speaking to me very well, and I certainly don't get names very well. Excuse me. Anyway, he was standing there in front of me, and he was wearing an old check jacket, an old check sports jacket with leather patches on the elbows. And it should have told me immediately, teacher, but it didn't. He was wearing a sort of 1970s. Would you know what I meant if I said a Brutus shirt? It's a patterned sort of shirt, well, light cotton, patterned often with swirly things on, or aeroplanes on, or horrible, really, really horrible, actually. And he had a kipper tie on. The kipper tie was bright yellow. Kipper tie, big broad tie. It was bright yellow. It was absolutely horrible, and he was wearing a pair of brown cords. I should have paid more attention because everything about him screamed teacher. Completely. Or at least they were in my school like that. So, but I didn't. I'm just telling her what all these things about this guy, and I was describing him and about how he was about 5'8", 5'9", and his hairstyle and his color of his eyes and things like this. And she couldn't place him at all. So I was sort of thinking, well, no, she can't place you, mate. Then he showed me a mauvish coloured Jaguar XJS, mauvish colour. Described that to her. No, she couldn't place that at all. And I'm sort of thinking, yeah, I'm on a loser here. She's going to think I'm absolutely bloody useless. And then he started on other things, weird things, and she still couldn't place him. And he was getting a little bit fraught about this. And suddenly in my mind, there came a green and white feather boa. Not the snake, a feather boa?
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me this one before.
Burlesque dancing feather boa thing. And I was looking at this thinking, that's damn odd. And then I heard him. As I said, I don't usually hear them very well. I heard him. Tell her. He's showing me a green and white feather boa. Blank look. So I said, no. And clear as a bell in my mind, tell her she's a floozy. And there's me saying to him, I can't say that. There's this old lady in the house. I can't, late 60s. That was an old lady.
That's not old.
It is when you're 30. And I'm sort of saying, I can't say that. I don't know her. I don't know how she's going to take this. No, I can't say that. Yes, you can. Go and tell her. No, I can't say that. All the time, I'm saying this out loud. I can't tell her that. Go. Then I'm hearing back, yes, you can tell her. Go and tell her what I told you. Floozy. No, I can't say that. And she asked me, what are you hearing? Go on, tell me. So I said, all right, this is him, not me. He says, you're a floozy. All of a sudden, the hands go up around the nose. Oh my God, that's Kenny. He's smiling, absolutely beaming all over his face. He's smiling. And I was saying, well, okay, don't leave it there. What's the story of the feather boa and the floozy? And she said, well, way back when in the 70s, they were teachers at a school in London, teaching English. And as part of the curriculum, they put on plays. And one of the plays they put on one year was The Boyfriend. And the girls didn't have a clue in an inner city area how to flounce and flirt around the stage with a feather boa. So my friend, this lady, demonstrated for them. At which point Kenny just called very loudly across the stage, "You're a floozy!" And that was it. And then he just disappeared. But it goes to demonstrate the problem that mediums have, that I'm relaying all this information through, all this information about what he looks like, what he's wearing, what he remembers, everything. And the lady living couldn't remember a thing until you found something that she could latch onto.
Yeah.
And this is the problem that mediums get, that we're getting all this information in from that side, and this side can't understand it.
Do you also run it, and we've talked about this before, and this is going to go right into, M18's got a great question we're going to talk about when you're done. But do psychics have, not all of you see it the same way either, correct? Would that be a correct statement?
We can see different spirits at the same time.
But
we can see the same things.
Okay. And interpret them differently, maybe?
No.
No.
We can see. It depends how well how attuned you are to the other medium that's with you. I mean, if you can find mediums to work with who are very attuned to you, you can get some remarkable results.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, you're over there in England, and you might see something and interpret it, but if the other medium was like here in the States in Florida, and somehow we're viewing the same event, and I realize I'm reaching a little bit here.
No.
But both of you may interpret it or describe it slightly differently. Is that an accurate statement?
We might see slightly different perspectives, but you're still going to see the same thing. I'll give you an example. I was going to use this in a later one, but I'll give you an example. But I was doing something for a friend up in Scotland, where I was doing one of my remote viewings, and he was at a castle up there, which is not in general access. And I was telling him what I was seeing, this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suddenly said to him, look, overall, there is a young man with a very broad Scots accent. He doesn't like you there. He's got a very, very big sword, and he's got a loose, baggy, slightly dirty shirt on, and I can't see anything down below, but it's probably a kilt, but I can't swear to it. But it's the sword, and he was trying to chop at people. And I was just telling my friend what this. I'm trying desperately hard not to say names. I was telling my friend what was going on, and then later on, my friend got back to me and said, "What the medium on the investigation that they've got has just told him, and he hadn't told anyone what I was saying, that he's got a young man in spirit with a very big sword who's trying to chop at people."
Okay.
So you see similar things. You get the flavor. The flavor is the same.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question, and I ask this out of ignorance, okay? Because I'm a psychic as a rock. You and I have had this discussion a million times. And this goes into M18's question a little bit. He asks, what are your thoughts of psychics assisting police in solving crimes? Early in my career, and I could think of one homicide in particular I was working on, I got calls from psychics 4 or 5 times, and not one of them said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who am I to say whether or not they actually were gifted, or they were fakes, or they thought they were gifted and they weren't? I mean, I have no way of knowing. But none of them gave the same story. So I guess what my question is, and this is, like I said, out of ignorance on my part, is it possible that psychics are tuned into different aspects of the other world, or maybe interpret things based upon how they were brought up or what they've learned? I guess what I'm, because that's one thing that really a lot of cops get excited about, or I should say disbelieve about psychics, is they're not all, how can 2 people give me the same story? So would these people just not really have the talent, or is it possible that 2 can get a different interpretation?
Well, the first thing I'll sort of say is there's a number of psychics out there who are more full of shit than a waste reclamation site.
Very diplomatically put, my friend. Very well.
And they just want the attention. They want to be seen to be special.
Uh-huh.
They're the ones who will usually contact the police. Usually you'll find a psychic won't contact the police until the police contact them.
Well, how would the police know to contact them if
word spreads?
Okay. So what you're saying is,
and if they don't, well, hey, because most of us know that if you go up to someone in the local police and say, "Hi, I'm a psychic and I've had communication with so and so and so and so," they're gonna, "Oh yeah, I've heard it all before, mate. Yeah, go and keep on the pills."
I was there. This homicide I'm thinking about that I'm not going to go into great detail about because it's never been solved, I might add. I was flat told to go check underneath the dock. You know, obviously in Florida we've got lots of water here. To go check under a dock and you will find the body. Well, no, we didn't. And of course this is oh my gosh, early '90s. So I wasn't quite as.
This isn't a shallow grave in trees, is it?
We don't know. Never found the body.
Right, because don't forget, I keep seeing this girl in hot pants, or cut down denim jeans, which look like sort of hot panty things, and a t-shirt, and she's off down at this waterside thing, and things happen, but she's not in the water. She's in a shallow grave in the trees.
Yeah, no, this wouldn't be that one. This is a child that.
Oh right, no, it's not. This isn't a child. No,
this is a child.
This woman was sort of 18 to 23, something like that.
Now, one case that I would have loved to have had you on, that I don't think has ever been solved. What I'd like to have had you on this case was an elderly woman, that just flat disappeared. I mean, was gone. Her family came to look for her. No sign of a struggle. Everything was in the house. There was some other evidence I won't go into, but she was gone, and to this day has never, ever been found. And she was in her, I want to say 70s or 80s at the time. This is back about 93, 94. Just gone. And to this day, nobody's ever found her.
It really does happen. It does. Now, I want to take you back to another point. Psychics coming up with different things, and it comes right back to You never know who's coming through the building at that particular moment in time. So, you want the answer to who killed Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mary's not around at that time, but somebody's just come in called Joe. And Joe wants to talk to someone. So you're talking to Joe. And the police aren't having any of it because they don't want to talk to Joe. They want to talk to Mary. What happened? It's not necromancy. You can't say, I want to talk to Mary, and Mary will magically appear.
I totally agree with you. People get that impression that there are circus animals that will react to our commands, and they don't. I totally understand that. To answer your question, M18, is one of my thoughts on psychics. Not to interrupt Chris too much, but I think it's an untapped source that, because of the prejudices in the world involving psychics, we don't utilize them enough, but some agencies do. And I think there's got to be a way to vet them to the point where evidence that they produce is usable. So while in my younger years, I thought it was all balderdash. Today, I would be very open to listening. Dash. Okay, dash. Okay. I would use them today. I hope that answers your question, M18, to your question. So
I wouldn't trust any of them. I cannot trust me. You know the problem that Evan's got? I've got exactly the same problem all the time.
But that's because you're honest people. See, and that's because you're always wanting to verify yourselves. And that cements. Oh, you just froze up there. You just froze up a little bit there. That tells me that what you're seeing is honest because you're not willing to take it verbatim. You're willing to question yourself. And I think that's very important. If we start taking ourselves too seriously, then you can't be taken seriously. That's one reason why I really question folks that say, I know exactly what ghosts are. Well, no, you don't. Nobody knows exactly.
Define. Here we go. We're going back to my bugbear. Define ghost.
Yeah.
It's got to be got rid of. This term has got to be got rid of.
Agreed. Well, listen, we're in the last few minutes of our show. Man, we're back, and it went so quick again. But first of all, you guys still out there? M18 yet 7:28 was the last notation on the.
They probably got fed up with me.
No, there's still 9 folks suffering through all this with us. You guys got any
really
questions?
Suffering.
Yeah. Any questions or thoughts, guys? Anything you'd like to bring up? Ike, I'd like to know if anything you want me to bring up about your next show or anything that you guys want to talk about. This is your part of the show. Excuse me.
I've said just about everything I want to say. I was also going to say about the it gets to memory again, in that I can sometimes get people come through for the living. And it doesn't work out quite as they wanted, in that, I want to talk to Auntie Flo. Okay. No, I haven't got Auntie Flo here, but I've got someone here called Tom. And he says you know him. Don't know any Tom. Here we go again. He says he's Flo's brother. Auntie Flo didn't have a brother. Okay. She doesn't know you, Tom, and she says you're not her brother. He was killed in the First World War. Oh, I know him, yes, but we never talk about him. This is what it's like. This is like, or suddenly someone will give you an artifact, and I'm trying to describe what I'm seeing. And to tell you the truth, it's rather like seeing something on the ground through a glass of water. It's a little bit vague, and you're getting an impression. You're saying, well, it's an amulet. It's a pendant. It's this. It's that. Looks like it's gold, and yeah. And eventually you might get there, but otherwise they'll say, no, I don't know that. And you've got this one on this other side saying, oh, it's this, and somebody's now saying it's something, right? Oh yeah, that. After 20 minutes, you might actually get somewhere. But by this time, I've lost the contact. I can't keep that contact going. These are all problems that mediums have. Well,
And
bad
I don't.
mediums like me, poor mediums like me.
But I've been with you. I know what you can do, so I get it. But unfortunately, so much of it is commercialized, and people like you and I talked earlier want instant gratification. They want something right now.
Right now, they want Auntie Flo now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've actually had Auntie Flo come through for them, and Auntie Flo is in a hell of a temper because they didn't give the necklace that they were supposed to give to their sister, and they don't want to know this. So then, of course, you're a bad medium again because you're telling them something they don't want to know.
Yeah. M18's got a question, or he has. Will you investigate any closed down police stations in Florida? Yeah, they're tough to get into, and the reason I like police stations
or jail, yeah. You just go and kick a police officer, or let his tires down, or cover his car with something.
Let's not even joke like that right now over here, okay? Let's not even go there. Yes, and particularly jails. We had a prison we were going to do. We got out there, and by the time we got out there with the other team whose area it was in, we were no longer allowed access. But jails, police stations, all those places where emotions are very, very high are a great place to investigate. Hospitals would go along those lines, and mental institutions. But yes, I would do police stations. One thing I want to toss out to you guys, Honolulu PD, and I don't know that they're doing it anymore, but they were doing a whole series of ghost stories involving ghosts in Honolulu. Now, understand, being Hawaii, very spiritual folks out there, they believe in a lot of this stuff, and they've done a lot of work with ghosts or paranormal activity in their stations in Honolulu. And I want to say it's called Haunted Honolulu PD or Honolulu PD Haunted. Look it up on the website. You can still see them. That's very cool. Now, Spanky brings up that we've done a repurposed fire station, which is now the Mel Fisher Museum in Sebastian. That was a fire station up until I got to think back on our background we did. I want to say up until the early 80s, it was still a fire station, and we actually got an EVP in there from an individual who identified themselves as a firefighter. So any place like that where you've got emotions running based upon what we end up having to see and deal with are places where energy, I think, and this is just my opinion, stay, and you're able to obtain a lot of evidence or a lot of information on residual or even active haunts in there, intelligent haunts in there. Chris uses the word sentient, non-sentient. We use the terms intelligent and residual, but still the same thing. But thank you, Spanky. The Mel Fisher Museum is a great example. Now, I will tell you this, the Palm Bay Police Department, which is the county just north of us, their folks that work in there talk about an auxiliary officer that passed away that still walks up and down the hallways and goes up and down their elevators. So yes, I would do them, and if we're able to get into them, we will. I will tell you this up front, I don't think I'll ever do another full investigation of cemeteries again, because cemeteries, while they are a hotspot for paranormal activity, do cause a lot of emotion. We got tossed out of one about a month ago that was open to the public, no signs saying we couldn't go in there, but somebody who claimed to be on their board says their step-granddaughter was buried in there, and how dare we defile it. So I don't like doing cemeteries, but that's just my opinion.
I don't like doing them either, but that's for a different reason. There's just too many people around.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, Debbie's got a question to ask you, and I would love to answer it, but I'm going to let you. Chris.
Go on.
Or Debbie NZ, Ike's wife asked, have you ever seen a Bigfoot? She's got to see your episode. You haven't seen, but you've heard. Yeah.
And trust me, it scared the living daylights out of me. And that's, I mean, I'm sure people have seen the video. I'm sure
What's
people
the name of it so Debbie can go refer?
It's not online at the moment.
Oh, okay. Too bad.
It's not, because my account was hacked and I took everything off, and I'm slowly putting it back when I've got time to do it. But it's a big process, and my bandwidth over here is something ridiculously small. So because we live out in the middle of nowhere and nobody gives a damn about us, whereas the cities get Whoa, fly high bandwidths, but we get nothing.
I might add for folks that come back and watch, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. Folks, everybody on here that's on here now knows it, but if you watch this episode after it's been on the site, Chris is in Durham. As we're doing this show, we are live, but Chris is in Durham, England. It's after midnight there, and I'm down here in Florida. So that shows you the dedication Chris has to getting this information and sharing this stuff. He's staying up all night just to be on the show live. So I just want to give you that plug, Chris. Oh, you froze on me. I complimented you and you froze on me. You there, Chris? Hello? I don't know what happened to Chris, guys. I gave him a good, I don't know if you can you guys still hear me? I don't know what happened to Chris.
You're here, it's Chris.
Heard a click. Ryan, can you hear me?
Chris is frozen.
Chris is frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen to me too, so he's gone.
We may have lost Chris, guys. I'm so sorry, but M18 talks about the beast of Bodmin Moor. I assume that's like a M18. That's like a Bigfoot type of sighting. Okay, M18. I think we're off the air, Ryan.
No, Chris is gone.
Chris is gone. Okay.
Yeah, he cut off. It's funny. He was just talking about internet and all that and how it was no good. Then he just goes.
You gotta wonder, does somebody on their side have anything to do with that? Mike wants to know, what are your thoughts of spirits moving from one place to another when people move? I don't know if he's going to make it back on with us, Spanky, but what I will tell you is Chris is a big believer that spirits are transient, and wherever you are, there may be spirits that hang out there, but there could be spirits that come and go as they please. And so I think it's very, very possible that spirits can go from one place to another. Now, I will tell you this will be coming up in the future. The old schoolhouse in Fellsmere, you guys have heard us talk about that. Down in the basement of the old schoolhouse was the Boys and Girls Club for Fellsmere. The region built them a brand new building that sits out in front now. I just spoke with the director out there who said that they are now observing doors opening and closing on their own. The cleaning folks have heard people yelling and screaming. There's kids laughing in there when they shouldn't be. And they've invited us to come back. So we will be investigating the new Boys and Girls Club in Fellsmere. And there's some more to that too that I won't get into now, but it's pretty exciting with that. Can you guys still hear me okay? Can somebody let me know if you can hear me?
You're fine.
You're fine? Okay, well, I will take your word, Ryan. Any other questions, guys? Any other thoughts or comments? Because it looks like we lost Chris. And this is really the first time this has happened where Chris has just not been able to finish up. He must, sometimes they do have bandwidth problems there in England. No Chris, but well, that was a great show. It is good to say thank you, Ike. I appreciate it. We're back at it. We're going to be talking specifically about investigations and what we're doing, but we also want to hear from you guys. If there's something you want us to talk about, something that we can share, let us know. And please get the word out. This is a forum that we want to develop for us to come together and talk and share things. We call it On the Air with Indian River Hauntings. Yep, Chris and I do it, but this is not the Larry and Chris show. This is the Paranormal World show. So let's get together, let's talk, let's come up with some answers. I'm going to say goodnight tonight, and glad you guys are back. Hey, I'm glad to see all of you again. So visit us next time. It'll probably be about 2 weeks we'll be back, but keep an eye on YouTube to join us. And also check out Chris, I think it's Spirit. I'm trying to think what Chris's new, he just changed it, and I can't remember what it is. But Spirit Research Northeast, you'll see a lot of his videos up there, so check him out. Please check out IDK Paranormal with Ike Enzi, my buddy Ike Enzi. Great show with his daughter, Christine. They're just a great host and a terrific show. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you for listening. Keep your eyes peeled. Look on our website, or I'm sorry, our Facebook page, Indian River Hauntings, and that's where we'll be announcing any shows that are upcoming. But you should see us within the next 3 weeks again as we do it. Looks like we're going to have an investigation on Monday, possibly one after that, so we'll have plenty to chat about and share with you. So with that, have a good night. Thanks for listening. And until next time, we'll see all of you on the other side. Have a good night.